Here's an example of where we probably saw there's going to be a tough day at the breakdown when we had this line break and it's minute 21 and Sia has the line break and we have totally overlap on the left hand side. It's actually a walking try for us, for Mapimpi at the left. Now AJ leans over the ruck. In my opinion, he's not carrying his body weight, but I'm sure you'll say he is carrying his body weight. So let's say fair enough, he's carrying his body weight. And now Faf is on his feet, trying to play the ball, and Itoje is pushing the ball to the ground. Sia is not touching the ball at all. We managed to get the penalty against us, which, in my opinion, is almost a cynical foul, pushing the ball to the ground there when we have an overlap on the left-hand side. And the worst is then after that, Itoje actually goes to you and say, there's a lot of scuffles off the ball without them causing anything. Just again, you letting him tell you, and you say, yes, I hear you, I know. So I think that's where the players realize that this is probably going to be the way we will be respected in this game. These are difficult calls, these next couple of ones, and I can understand that he sometimes gets them wrong. And his explanations, it's not too great, but for example, here Kwaga gets the ball. We feel he's got a clear pull on the ball, he's lifting the ball, but he actually says, I think he says no clear lift on the ball. He says Kwaga didn't lift the ball clearly. According to me, he couldn't lift it more clearly, as you can see the circle, as we circled the ball there, and we weren't rewarded for that. So here is Trevor Nyakane, the next one, Alvin Jones is carrying, Trevor's got his hands on the ball, he's trying to lift the ball, and he's got the ball in the air. Okay, a ruck might be formed, and it's a penalty against Trevor. So again, I say you can get these easily wrong, and you can dissect it, and I know this is the area where you say, now you're nitpicking, but I just think if you can apply the law the same right through the game, that would be great. So let's say that was a penalty against Trevor Nyakane. Then this one is interesting. Eben's got the ball there. He's stealing it. He's getting no reward currently for it, and he coaches him off the ball. So Eben did leave the ball and he doesn't get penalized. So that's now the level of how they do it. Now, we are now contesting for the ball a few times. Again, at this ruck, actually, they're going to penalize us for contesting the ball. But the first thing here, which is crazy and which Nic already agreed on, Damien Delende was penalized for being offsides here. Now, he agreed and he said that Damien wasn't offsides and it was a bad call. So again, I'm just asking if the ARs is aligned and they don't see a clear and obvious offside, why would they say offside? So, if it isn't clear and obvious, then you don't call offside. If it's clear and obvious, you call offside. And this is not close to clear and obvious. So, this is definitely something that's bothering us. Why would the ARs call that? Do they think they saw the guy being offside? It would be great to understand how they called that offside. Again, this one, we thought they were offsides. I think Nic gave us a good explanation and said, but 7 is actually onside. For me, it doesn't really look 100% onside, but I mean, again, we don't want to nitpick and show every single mistake they made. So let's give this one to them and say, okay, 7 and 13 was never onside, but they didn't make the tackle, and number 2 made the tackle there, and he's got at least 1 foot close to the offside line. So maybe that's how he saw that he was not offsides. But if you compare that, for example, with Damien in the previous clip where he was clearly onside, it's weird that this one wasn't called offside, but we accept his explanation for that because the guy, number 2, makes the tackle eventually. This one is very frustrating because we were so much warned prior to the game that anybody in front of the kicker must immediately freeze. Doesn't matter if he's a meter in front or 10 meters in front, nobody can be in front of the kicker. Here you can obviously see, and we actually think it's a little bit silly the way they referee the specific part of the game now, where they say, if the guy kicks the ball from the back, that everybody must stand still. but that's the law. They are now refereeing that way, and they made no bones about it that if a guy's in front of the ball, he must freeze until somebody puts him on side. And here you can see the guy is obviously more than a meter offside, and nothing happens there. Again, that's another 3 points in front of the poles, but that wasn't penalised. Yeah, here's the three that was probably, again, I will give it to Nick. This is a difficult part of the game to referee. So that's when a tackled player's knee touches the ground. Then the player who's tackling him must immediately release, and he can't rip the ball out, which he does really well in this one here, which he penalizes actually Hawk and Daly, because they are ripping the ball out of Andre, but Andre's knees already touching the ground. A little bit later, he does exactly the same with Kwagga, where Kwagga steals the ball while the guy's knees are already on the ground. Here it is, Alwyn is carrying the ball, but Alwyn's knee is touching the ground, and Kwagga is stealing the ball, and he should actually not steal the ball because Alwyn's knee is already on the ground. Now that's fine, and did it twice brilliantly. Now the most important one of the game, in the 83rd minute, or the last play of the game, the 80th minute, we inside their 22. If you remember, just prior to this, Damon Dalenda caught the ball. Their guy didn't roll away, so that could have been a penalty already for us, and he didn't make that call there. And now exactly the same. Mario Itoje now, Reinhard Artset is carrying low. You can see their knees touching the ground. Now, both on all the other occasions before the 80th minute, he's penalised the player for releasing. Not releasing the tackled player or ripping the ball while his knee is touching the ground. But unfortunately here, this one, he decides it's a good rip. It's a clear rip. It's how he does that and why he does that, I'm not 100% sure, because he was actually really good on the previous three, but obviously one of the most important ones in the 80th minute, he got wrong there. So yeah, that was really disappointing.